Jeffrey Goldberg, whose body of reporting on this topic is rock solid. Donald Trump, quote, erupted when presented with the cost of a funeral for a 20-year-old Army private, Vanessa Guillen. She was murdered at Fort Hood. Guillen is the daughter of Mexican immigrants. She grew up in Houston, Texas. Jeffrey Goldberg reports on what happened at an Oval Office meeting in December of 2020. Quote, at a certain point, according to two people present at the meeting, Donald Trump asked, quote, did they bill us for the funeral? What did it cost? According to attendees and to contemporaneous notes of the meeting taken by a participant, an aide answered, yes, we received a bill. The funeral cost $60,000. Trump became angry. Quote, it doesn't cost $60,000 to bury a fucking Mexican. He turned to his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, and issued an order. Quote, don't pay it. Later that day, he was still agitated. Can you believe it, he said. According to a witness, fucking people trying to rip me off. That's Donald Trump using the F word to describe a funeral that he had offered to pay for a member of the United States military. With 14 days to go, we apologize for the profanity, but we want to quote Donald Trump accurately and be faithful to this extraordinary body of reporting. A Trump spokesperson denied that the ex-president made the comments and said, quote, this is an outrageous lie from the Atlantic 2 weeks before the election. But as Jeffrey Goldberg notes, quote, the personal qualities displayed by Donald Trump in his reaction to the cost of the Guillen funeral, contempt, rage, parsimony, racism, hardly surprised his inner circle. While this happened almost 4 years ago, its significance cannot be understated, considering the tight race that the country is facing for president. More from Goldberg's reporting, quote, today, 2 weeks before an election that could see Donald Trump return to the White House, I'm most interested in his evident desire to wield military power and power over the military in the manner of Hitler and other dictators. NBC News has not independently verified the Atlantic reporting. It's where we begin the hour with some of our favorite experts and friends. Ranking member of the House Intelligence.
Well, and I would say, Nicolle, there's some words you said a few times there that we should focus on. Contemporaneous notes. Now, I don't know who Jeffrey Goldberg's sources were, but the reason I don't doubt this reporting is I was one of those people taking contemporaneous notes in those meetings. And why? Because generals like Jim Mattis and John Kelly and Mark Milley went into those meetings. They told their aides like me, you need to document conversations with the president. Why? Not because they were looking to defy lawful orders, but because when you went into that Oval Office, you were worried you were going to get illegal orders or you were going to witness corruption. And it was happening so frequently that people were sitting in these meetings and writing word for word what the president was saying to make sure they got it right after the fact. That seems to be the case here. And the things that were said are not extraordinary. That's exactly what a meeting with Donald Trump sounds like, especially when it comes to members of the military. I hate to say it, Nicolle, but his disposition towards members of the military was that they were toy soldiers. And if they didn't comply with his orders, he didn't want them there. And that's why he fired or pushed aside so many defense and national security officials during his tenure, is that they weren't doing what he wanted to do when it came to nuclear conflicts or illegal orders to shoot people in the legs at the border or to deem migrants as unlawful enemy combatants, as terrorists. Or again, Nicolle, when I was there, he wanted to invoke the Insurrection Act to conduct activities that our lawyers thought would be illegal at the border. That's the type of thing that will test the oaths of our service members if Donald Trump wins a second term.
Miles, you...
So this is a consistency that Donald Trump has had. So they can, Cash Patel and those idiots can lie all they want to about what he said. The other important thing to remember about this story, Nicolle, is when he promised the family he would take care of their funeral expenses. That was before the election. That was in April of 2020. When he said, I'm not going to pay to bury the effing Mexican, that was after he had lost in December. So people need to remember, he'll say anything before an election, but his real true character comes out after the election.
And one thing